Finally, the public has been presented with the President Ruto's nominees for cabinet. Before the nominees were unveiled to the public, we said a number of things. Top on the list of what I said was that I hoped the President would nominate for cabinet appointment men and women reflective of the time. That these are hard times. The country is going through challenging times. And you need the best you can get. The nominees came with serious disappointment. Again, I voiced on behalf of many Kenyans my disappointment. And we hoped that Parliament, beginning with the vetting committee, would deal with this matter with the seriousness it deserves. That we have a country we all love, no doubt. A country we are all hopeful will be a good place for our children and their children. And therefore, with this in mind, the men and women in Parliament charged with the responsibility of vetting the leaders who will take this country forward for the next 5 years will be aware of that. The vetting has come. What have we been treated to? The vetting confirms our worst fears, that the executive through Parliament, and in particular, through my kinsman, Moses Wetangula, is out to deliver these people and to ensure they become cabinet secretaries. In a country that is bleeding, I want, from the very onset, to remind the President, to remind Moses Masika Wetangula, my kinsman, that, like I've said before, history may judge you very harshly. Because this country requires leadership. What have we seen from the vetting so far? A number of things emerge. One is that, save for 1 or 2, or at most 3, the people being vetted to become ministers, cabinet secretaries, at a time, I must repeat, when this country needs its best foot forward, are people who cannot distinguish their left hand from their right hand. People of wanting intellectual capacity. People who cannot even be entrusted with the responsibility of running a cattle dip. I'm sorry I have to say this. And I must repeat, I love this country. Anybody looking for reasons why Manyora says what he says, beyond my love for country, you will go around, you will not get another reason. Those who think I hate anybody, they are wrong. Including those I meet who tell him, Manyora, why do you hate us so much? I don't hate anybody. I speak from the bottom of my heart for the love of this country. I'm among the 99.999% of Kenyans who cannot go anywhere, will not go anywhere, are not able to go anywhere if this country collapsed. I love this country. And I say, you are interviewing somebody for a docket, and they have no idea of what that ministry is about. Anytime they try to open their mouth, you feel like crying. That are these the men and women in whose hands we want to entrust the future of our children? Let me tell you a short story. Many years back, I was having a drink at the Hilton. A minister, cabinet minister, a senior man in the ruling party then, many years ago, a top leader of the ruling party and a minister, walked in where we were having a drink with a girl in tow, both of them dead drunk, looking terrible. There were some white chaps seated next to us. We are not even on the same table. Some white man said the words I've just said. He looked at that minister and said, "Are these the people in whose hands Kenyans are entrusting the future of their children?" Let me tell you, I shed tears that day. Tears rolled down my cheek. I've never forgotten. A foreigner looking at a cabinet minister, walking in dead drunk with a young little girl. Both of them. Are these the people in whose hands the people of Kenya are entrusting the future of their children? I shed tears, and I was not alone. And there was a white man saying it, a non-Kenyan. So when I listen to the vetting going on, and I wonder, ask myself, this country requires its best men and women. Other countries are on autopilot. Other countries are doing well. The pilot and his co-pilot can afford to play games, cards, have coffee because everything is good. This country requires the best men and women. I want to repeat this. First, we are a poor, dirty third world country where people are dying from hunger, where people are dying from diseases that stopped killing people in the 19th century. Preventable diseases, treatable diseases. Child mortality rates in this country can only be compared to what it was 100 years ago in some country. Women dying during childbirth. Kenyans living in slums where they don't access water. A family uses a 20-liter jerrycan for a week without even the access of a pit latrine, leave alone a flush latrine, because there's no running water. This is Kenya, whereby World Bank's standard records, whatever they call it, and including Kenya's own assessment, more than half the population live below $1 a day, below 100 or so shillings a day, where a serious percentage of our population go to bed hungry. There are many people in this country who have never touched 1,000 shillings, a 1,000 shilling note. That's why when Raila talked of 6,000 shillings, some of you people are just joking. Because you don't know what 6,000 could have meant to a Kenyan who has never seen 1,000 shilling notes for the past 5 years. And you sit down to listen to those people trying to be ministers. If you can't cry, then you are not a human being. The second thing that emerges from that is integrity. Because leadership and integrity go hand in hand. I can live the life I live myself. I can do the things I want to do. But should I attempt to be a leader, I'm no longer Manyora. I'm a public figure. At the level of cabinet, you are the best the country is supposed to be having. You are a person among the top less than 100 people whose decisions, please, Moses Wetangula, the decisions of those men you are vetting will affect this country for 100 years to come. You may be living in Karen yourself. You don't love your child. You don't love your granddaughter. Because if you love your granddaughter, you'll want them to live the life you are living in Karen. But you mess the country today. I'm telling you, you mess this country today. Your grandchild will live in Kibra. As the people of Kibra go and live in Karen. You make stupid decisions today about this country. Those decisions you make today, you could be watching them someday, I've said, as a refugee in some country. And you'll ask yourself, it was within my power to advise the president that this woman cannot be a cabinet secretary. That this man cannot be a minister in a country that's about to collapse. Return to sender. And maybe that's what the president wanted. Maybe the president wanted to please these people, knowing all too well they will not be vetted through. But Parliament and the committee and the Parliament is going to say this. I heard Wetangula say something, I almost cried. My tears are flowing freely these days. That one of the nominees had issues about her certificate being raised. But fortunate for her, the charges had been dropped. Now, charges against certain nominees have been dropped. The work of the vetting committee and indeed Parliament is to find out why those cases were dropped. That's what would happen if it is America. You like traveling outside the country. You are humiliated in airports. You cry to get visas to go to those countries because they are good countries. In those countries, the vetting committee will find out why the case against Linturi was dropped. Why one against Aisha Juma was dropped. So Wetangula says, even if it is found that the lady doesn't have a degree, that wouldn't matter anyway at the level of law because that has been withdrawn. But at the level of integrity, Moses Masika Wetangula, at the level of integrity, a certificate is no longer required. Our courts have told us degrees are useless. Fine, I don't even support degrees myself. I've seen intelligent men without degrees. But the issue of integrity does not die because the courts have said degrees are not important. The fact that a nominee for cabinet position has been accused of forging certificates, that is a matter. That is a question. That is what will bring this country down. Oh, I want to cry also. Please, God, hold my tears back. And I'm beginning to think I'm the only person who loves this country. Because if people half love this country the way I do, people will stop that vetting. People will walk there and stop that vetting. People will not allow Parliament to vet those cabinet nominees, some of them, to become ministers. So I think I'm the only one who loves this country. I'll continue loving it until my last day. That's the best I can do for my country. To love it, because I have children. I have grandchildren. Inshallah, I will have great-grandchildren. I always imagine that we should leave this country a better place than we found it. But the way I see, our grandchildren will be wondering what we did to them. Why we messed things for them that much. The mess our great-grandchildren will be dealing with in this country. So yes, cabinet is formed, yet to be appointed, but we've learned a lot. I think we can only pray to God that please save this country. Because the men charged with the responsibility of steering this country have failed us. We can only hope that one day, one time, this country will get the leadership it deserves. A leadership that is mindful of generations to come. A leadership of men and women who know that it's not what they are enjoying for breakfast today that matters, but it is whether or not their grandchildren will be able to afford and enjoy the same meal like they are doing today.